I really want to start by thanking Paul again for grounding us this morning. Always was and always will be Aboriginal land. In all of our fights, we stand with Indigenous people here in so-called Australia and across the globe, including Indigenous people in Palestine, including the Indigenous Adivasi communities of India who have been on the front line of coal mining, including Adani's coal-fired power stations, and that there is no way forward that isn't hand in hand and led by Indigenous voices. Today, I want to tell you a little bit about where I come from and the story of my two homes. I grew up in a place called Mudgee, about 3 hours from here, but my family comes from the northeast of India in a place called Punjab. Punjab is the land of the 5 rivers. It is a fertile floodland where people have been farming on the same plots for generations. My family comes from 2 small villages where my grandparents and everyone before them have been living in the same place, living in the same community, understanding the weather patterns to keep farming sustainably. And that Punjab is where my story starts when it comes to caring about climate change. It's a tricky place to hold both of those 2 homes in your heart at the same time. Right now in Punjab, I don't know what kind of world my aunts and uncle and family are waking up to. My village in the Mudgee district is 55 kilometres from the Pakistan border. That's about as far as the end of Penrith, to really imagine how close that is. Punjab is in a central region bordering Pakistan under Kashmir. It is a place that has been the heart of resistance against imperialism for many, many years. And today it is waking up to the sound of drones and bombs. And there is no way that I can stand here as a Punjabi person thinking about the resistance and what's happening in Punjab without also really affirming that Punjabi people stand with the people of Kashmir against occupation and militarization. Punjabi people stand with the people of Palestine against occupation and genocide. The Indian government wants to follow the blueprint that Israel has set in Kashmir. And we will not let them do that. Here in Australia, we have a massive Indian diaspora, a massive Punjabi diaspora, and therefore the story of occupation and violence in Punjab, the story of occupation and violence in Kashmir, the story of brutal occupation and violence in Palestine is an Australian story. I want you to take a moment to imagine my village in Punjab. I want you to imagine the green hills in the distance. I want you to imagine green fields of crops. I want you to imagine fresh water that comes down from the Himalayas to feed the crops that end up feeding lots of India. This is a place that is on the forefront of climate impacts. Right now, there is a climate-induced heat wave spreading across northeast India in Punjab. Every year, it gets harder and harder for farmers to stand out there in the sun and keep producing the food that everyone in India needs. Every year, the weather patterns change so that the knowledge that has been passed down from generation and generation doesn't make sense anymore. And for me, living in Mudgee and holding this home of Punjab in my heart, I look down the road and I see 3 giant coal mines. These 3 coal mines make up 25% of our coal exports from New South Wales every year. They are a giant piece of the puzzle. And that piece doesn't just stop from where the coal is dug up, where it is dug up on stolen land, where it is dug up with no care for the communities or the farmers that have to live with it, and where it is then sent off to various countries to be burnt, often on stolen land, to no care for who it hails that holds us, and then no care for who lives through those climate impacts and who bears the brunt of it. The last time we had 2 terms of Labor government was in 2010, I think, with Julia Gillard. In 2010, I was 9 years old. I was walking to school in Mudgee at St. Matthew's Catholic Primary School, and I was listening to the talk of the first female Prime Minister. I was listening to a lot of drama about the carbon tax. I was blissfully unaware that the carbon that they wanted to tax was being dug up down the road. Many years later, it is again the second time we are seeing 2 terms of Labor government. In 2010, when Julia Gillard and that Labor government came into power, the biggest producing coal mine in New South Wales, Moolarben Coal, was opened right next door to Mudgee. I was 9 years old then, I'm now 23. Labor is in power once again, and that coal mine is up for a giant expansion. I could list many things that the Labor government could do in terms of policy, in terms of taxes, but I don't need to because they know that. Many incredibly smart people have laid out many roadmaps to transition, many different paths that we could walk to ending our coal exports. The only choice that Labor needs to make isn't a choice about which policy to decide. It's a choice about whether they put communities and planet before big business. And we will keep standing here until we see them make that choice, against rapid coal expansion, against brutal occupations across the globe, and a choice against big business. In the next few months, I'll be supporting my family and the community in Mudgee to try and build resistance against this expansion. This is an expansion that is going to keep coal flowing from Mudgee until well into the 2040s. It's an expansion that is going to bulldoze breeding koala habitat. It is an expansion that is going to mean that the people living next to these coal mines are going to keep brushing coal dust off their solar panels at veggie patches. And it is an expansion that we can't afford.